Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. I posted a video that was only very slightly cryptic about something that could happen today. Some big news that could affect gold and silver prices. And pretty much we all know it was related to the Mueller investigation. And this article sort of sums up my reasoning for thinking it was going to happen today. Now, the hours are ticking, and more than likely what would have happened would have already occurred at this hour. My feeling is that as the day continues to run low, that I don't think they're going to post it, at the end of the news day. And I'll give you a couple of reasons why I think it didn't happen today. But nonetheless, here is sort of the reasoning behind why a lot of people were thinking it was going to happen today. And including me. There's mounting speculation that the special counsel Robert Mueller will come out with something substantial in the Russia investigation as soon as Friday. John Dowd, Trump's former defense attorney who's in frequent touch with the president's legal team, said Friday that Mueller and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein are not authorized to release a report because information in it would be protected by executive privilege. Rudy Giuliani, who is Trump's lead defense lawyer, has for some time called for Mueller to release a final report by September 1. And he has said that speculation that Mueller could make a big release on Friday makes sense. All eyes are on the special counsel Robert Mueller amid mounting speculation that he could come out with something substantial in the Russia investigation before Labor Day, which would be Monday, September the 3rd. Mueller is investigating Russia's interference in the 2016 U.S. election and whether members of Donald Trump's campaign colluded with Moscow to tilt the race in his favor. The NBC host Chuck Todd first raised the possibility of significant developments in the Russia investigation when he suggested during Thursday's edition of Meet the Press Daily that there could be a major release from Mueller on Friday. I'll be honest with you, I'm not missing work tomorrow, Todd said. I wouldn't miss work tomorrow. And I saw that interview and saw what he said there. The anchor added that people who worked with Mueller on the investigation would have ended it if they had not found evidence of collusion, adding that he also believes Mueller is likely to lie now between Labor Day and November midterm elections to avoid accusations of political interference. On Friday morning, the news website Axios reported that speculation of a Friday revelation was hot among the president's legal team. The publication listed possible evidence that Mueller could have at his disposal, such as Trump's tax returns, bank records, and Trump organization records that the public may not be aware of yet. Rudy Giuliani, Trump's personal defense attorney, told Business Insider on Friday that he had no inside information about whether Mueller would make a big release on Friday, but he said the speculation the special counsel might do so makes sense. And it kind of goes on here, and there's no indication of a final report anytime soon. His team is said to have told Trump's lawyers earlier this year that it is expected to wrap up by the end of the summer a report on the portion of the investigation involving whether Trump obstructed justice. And so it's going to be interesting to see. I think the reason why, without going into this a whole lot further in and getting into the minutiae of the politics of it, but I think there's a couple of reasons why I think it didn't happen. But I understand the reason why it could have happened. And I think the biggest reason why they wanted to get it in, why they're probably Chuck Todd thought it was going to happen before Labor Day, is because that's when campaign season hits hot and heavy, and that's to avoid the appearance of being political and releasing the report. However, politics is everywhere in this investigation, and anything involving the president is going to be political no matter what time you do it. Now, obviously, as it gets closer to November, quote, if it were to come as an October surprise, that would be blatant and obvious, like what Comey did with the everything considering with Hillary Clinton, how that was politically motivated. So, with that being said, you've got these different facets of the investigation that are going on, and whether it's warranted or not, we know that Mueller is going to be offering some bad news to the president, which the point of this video and the point of last night's video, late last night, is that it's going to have an effect on gold and silver prices. And I watched the markets last night and this morning. Gold and silver were up. They have since kind of pulled back as of the close here. Really, the biggest move was palladium, which is unfortunate because when it reaches $1,000, that means our palladium proof coins that are going to be coming out Thursday are going to be pop up another $50, well over $1,400, or it's already very close to $1,400 now, according to the pricing matrix that has been released. So, with that being said, these precious metal prices have kind of eased back because I know the news is not coming out. I think there's a couple of reasons why the news may not have been released today, and why it could still be released based off of what I've read, possibly on Tuesday or early next week. And that is the funerals of Aretha Franklin, which we have big politicians speaking at, and the memorial of John McCain. And my guess is they didn't want to cloud and overshadow those events, because when this it's going to be big news. And it's going to be big news, and with the effect of the markets, no matter what side of the political spectrum you fall on with regards to the Russia investigation, the fact that this thing has culminated and has gone on for as long as it has, and if there's a report on it, there's already been some news that is broken today regarding the investigation, but it's very small news. It's related to some charges by a Manafort associate, and also the dropping of 2 lawyers in the Russia investigation. And those are newsworthy events, but not enough to crack the markets or have a major impact on where things head out from here. But nonetheless, the president has certainly been on the defensive, and I watched very closely to the news and watched the Indiana rally that Donald Trump gave, and he was really going after the investigation and saying that he was going to start to take control soon. And so a bit of frustration there, as well as the tweets from yesterday that were particularly noteworthy. And again, as was noted by the Business Insider article, the Trump team was, a legal team, I think, was preparing for something like this, embracing for impact with regards to what the Mueller team was going to release. So it could happen soon. And I think that if it's going to happen, it'll probably be sooner in September rather than later, because the closer you get to October, it becomes blatantly, apparently political and trying to affect the midterms. And because no matter what happens with these midterms, if the Democrats take over the majority of the House, they will, mark my words, they will bring impeachment charges forward. And of course, even if there's a stronghold in the Senate with Republicans in control, it's going to be a very dicey situation if these articles of impeachment do leave these committees and bring upon the full floor of the House, because they want that stain on Trump's record for sure. It will happen if the Democrats take over, and I do believe that will affect the markets and in turn affect precious metals prices. And we shall see how things play out. But even if Mueller beforehand he's going to come out with something that's not going to look good for the president, in my opinion, whether it's warranted or not. Take your viewpoint of where you fall on this. I think most people know where I fall on it. But the very fact that something's going to come out, it's going to be released, that it would make Mueller look bad if he says, okay, well, we've been investigating for almost 2 years and Trump didn't obstruct justice, or it was some flimsy, very small little slap on the wrist type thing. He's going to bring something, whether it's warranted or not, against the president to make himself look good or seem legitimate. And that's going to affect the markets, I believe, and it's going to affect gold and silver prices at some level. So just prepare for it. I think if anything that's going to help bring the prices up, I think that's going to be it probably on the political side. Because as I mentioned in last night's video, you know, the things move markets in different ways, the precious metal markets, whether it be economic factors, and that's what we're seeing with the low prices now, or geopolitical factors, such as what we see around the world with Greece, with Turkey, and their economic situations. And then we have domestic politics. And I think this is one of those things where it's going to have an effect on the market, domestic politics. And mark my words, this is not a black swan event or anything like that. Black swans are something that's just unexpected, had a left turn. Something big happens that can have an effect in the markets. What I'm talking about was sort of expected, and we saw that reflected in the gold and silver prices. So we shall see. It's fascinating to see how these things occur and what happens. Again, the hours are ticking. I think there's, and as I mentioned in last night's video, we could go through the day and nothing happened, and that's exactly what happened. Timing this is something, but be on the lookout for something to watch these markets happen. And again, as many of you have said, and as I agree with totally, these are fun to talk about, but in the end, we hold these precious metals because we know that they're there to protect us in cases of economic instability or market instability. Aside from market conditions, we've got things like these geopolitics and domestic politics situations that could have an effect on these precious metals. Post your thoughts below. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude, y'all, for watching, and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.